Hey guys, Taylor Keys Wait here, and I'm your theme park reviewer. What I always do, I don't know, I guess it's the thing that's always to do. I'm gonna do it every single episode as always. But welcome to episode 6 of Taylor Keys Wait's theme park reviews. I am your host, Taylor Keys Wait, again, of course. And today is actually one of the few days I actually do 2 videos during one day. I just felt like I said, you know what? I've been backed up on reviews. I have to try to figure out what's the best place to get a review and try to put out as much information without condensing. Well, I have to condense too much. I have to condense a lot of time for these amusement park reviews because not everybody does amusement park reviews. So for me, while I'm trying to do it, justice and also trying to make it sound good. Some people may just say, well, write a script. Well, for me, writing a script, I'm going to be doing this review for hours. It'll be so in depth to the point where people won't even want to watch it anymore. So that's why I condensed it down. That's why I condensed it down to the kind of the key points, what's good and what's bad, which I'm going to be doing with today's review, which is Manta, the roller coaster. And the reason I'm just going to jump in straight into the review today is because I already read off my news. So, without further ado, let's get on to a review of Manta, which opened up on May 22nd, 2009. I was about to say 1999, I'm sorry. And the theme is towards the stingray and manatee species and the marine life of water. Basically, the attraction when you walk around the surroundings and experience the theming, the Manta, as Wikipedia says, Manta is an attraction which encompasses a themed queue and roller coaster. The queue is designed to resemble a seaside village decorated with mosaic and artwork inspired by rays. Within the attractions of 4 acres site are 10 aquaria contained 184,000 US gallons of water. Approximately 3,000 animals representing over 60 species are visible, including over 300 rays, such as cow-nose rays, spotted eagle rays, other creatures on display including seahorses, leafy sea dragons, and tropical fish. Now, that's just to say a little bit. I just read off Wikipedia, and soon I won't even have to do it anymore. But that's basically kind of telling you what you got. But as a more clarified thing, Manta is actually a themed roller coaster, and one of the new steps for SeaWorld into their new era of theming, because SeaWorld is a theme park, as I've already told you, and it's their newest attraction that they had in the last 9 years. Literally, the last ride that they opened was Kraken, which was back in 2000, and this was their newest ride, and it was a roller coaster, and it's SeaWorld's second roller coaster in their park, and it's one of their best roller coasters in their park, and I'll tell you why. Of course, we just gotta start off with the overview. So, going to Manta, what I felt was amazing as soon as I saw it was the entrance, as always. The logo for Manta is amazing. First, you see the Manta logo, which basically is like this little stingray kind of a silhouette, and then the words Manta, which is actually pretty nicely well done. And there's this waterfall that's just like falling behind the logo, and this mosaic rock formation, which is actually really cool. And that's the beginning of the queue. That's just the outside. Now, sorry, I kind of choked on my own water. Now, when you walk through the queue, you're under a rock formation, which is kind of like through this little rocky tunnel. And on your right side, you got this waterfall that's like falling right in front of you, which is beautiful. It's really cool, beautiful. There's a lot of waterfalls actually to even tell you guys. There's like a waterfall in where the queue is. There's like 2 of them. One under this rocky area. And you see it like right behind you, so you do see the backside of water. Walt Disney World reference. And of course, when you go past this, you're on a little bridge where you see kind of like the water. You see the water under you, kind of this little river, which is actually really well done. And there's another waterfall just like falling from this kind of higher point, which is also really cool. And when you walk into the queue, you see the aquarium. Now there's an aquarium section when you get to Manta too. So if you're thinking that there's no aquarium, there is actually an aquarium. There's an aquarium entrance on like the more farther left side of the Manta entrance, and of course it just kind of goes into a circle. Luckily, it's not one of those it's not an exit, so it's just a normal aquarium. It's small, but it does show you the same aquarium that if you would see if you were going on Manta. Now, when you go into Manta, there's a nice little aquarium where you see the seahorses, you see the stingrays, you see the manatees, and you see the I'm sorry, not the manatees, the mantas. which are the bigger stingrays. That's why they call mantas. So for people calling smaller stingrays manta, shut up. I'm sorry. It's not called manta. The bigger ones are. Like, the huge ones are, but the smaller ones aren't. But you do see, like, this nice little aquarium, though. And, you see all the stingrays. It's really nice, really beautiful. And one of the horrible parts about it is that SeaWorld, while this queue area is really beautiful and amazing, one of the worst things is when you have somebody waiting in line, and of course the line is going kind of slow. The great thing is when you have an extremely long line and it's taking long for the trains to come through, then it's, we get a chance to look at the actual areas, like, the little aquariums. But when there's actually no lines, I hate it when people are just standing there and you're like, oh wow, look at the fish. Look at the little stingray there. Oh, look at that stingray. And you're just holding up the line. Like, literally, like, the last time I went to Manta, it was like it was supposed to be a 25-minute line, right? And there was this couple that was just standing there in front of me, like, holding up the line. So, like, somebody passed me, I was like, oh, you know what, fine, I'm just gonna pass them too. So, they're like, oh, they just passed us. Those hooligans, why did you pass us? But that's the only thing that just crazes me, just the fact that SeaWorld is gonna get you to say, oh, look at the fishes, look at the fishy fish, look at the fishy, oh my gosh, they're fishy. I hate it when it goes to that. So, like, I like the Kraken queue area better because it doesn't have you looking at things, and I like the Journey to Atlantis queue area better because you don't have anything, you're not looking at anything. And the same thing kind of goes for the Antarctica queue, which you don't really have anything to look at. You have a little cute pre-show area, and you got that little ride. So here, no, they got to throw in some freaking aquarium in front of you. All the aquarium looks all great, and it really adds onto the queue, which actually is nice and dark and kind of rock. The rock formation, the rocks is kind of you see in this little tunnel that you're in. It's all beautiful and great, but just the aquarium holds up the line from people that are just going like fishy, 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 which I hate. Why do you do that? Just stop doing that. That's one of the few things I hate about when I wait in line for Manta, when it's like it's supposed to be a 25 to 15 minute wait line. Just make it 25 to 15 minutes. Don't look at the freaking aquarium. There's no time. Unless you're like one of those people that work at Attractions Magazine or Inside the Magic or Coaster Force, any of those guys that's trying to like do the full experience and crap, then fine, whatever. I don't mind that. But in this case, stop. that's just my little gripe there. So I just got that all out. Man, I got 7 minutes out of it too. Anyways, after that, once you get through the queue, you go up to the upstairs loading station where you see the dueling stations, because there's one side and another side where you have one train on one side and the other train on another side. So anybody's gonna get confused by saying there's 2 tracks. Oh my gosh, yay, 2 tracks. There's not really any 2 tracks. It kind of sucks, but the reason why there's a dueling station is because, this is SeaWorld. While SeaWorld doesn't get extreme crowds like Disney or Universal, they knew that this ride's going to get a lot of people because this ride has been history in the making for SeaWorld. It changed SeaWorld's income. Like, people started coming to SeaWorld just for Manta because it's the first flying roller coaster in Florida. Yep, first flying roller coaster in Florida. This is history in the making for Florida. This is Florida's first flying roller coaster, and it's actually Florida's best flying roller coaster here, of course, because it got rave reviews. Really did. Got 3rd place back in 2009 for best ride, which is amazing. But when you get to the dueling stations, the reason why they built the dueling stations is because they knew that there's going to be a lot of people. There's about 4 trains on the track anyway, so you got one that's going up on a hill, 2 in the station, and that's one coming back. So there's always a constant run. Imagine it was just one station, you just had 4 trains. It really wouldn't work out that well, but it will still work out, but it wouldn't work out as well. But considering that there's dueling stations, it actually kind of speeds up the process for getting people on and off the ride, which is really great. So it doesn't keep the line waiting at like an hour, 1 to 20 minutes, which is great. Something not every single ride does, especially in Six Flags or Cedar Fair, but this one does it pretty well, and I like it a lot. Now, as for the ride experience, going to roller coaster, one of the scariest parts you're going to ever experience is just the lift hill. Let me just give you that right away. The lift hill is the scariest part of the ride. Now, if you've ever been on a roller coaster, you should know that there's like a little maintenance stairway that kind of goes up with the ride's lift hill. and that's usually if the ride kind of breaks down on the lift hill. Now with Manta, I don't know. Zero said that they didn't put any of the maintenance lift hill just for the fact that they wanted to have a guest to rider experience where they would interact with each other. So if somebody was on Manta, they can wave goodbye like, "Hey, how you doing?" And of course, the bystanders, the guests, would also wave back to them because they can see them, which is also it's a really cool experience. But it's really scary to me because I'm like, I'm just looking down and it's going so high because Manta is 125 feet tall. And it's not over any grass or water or anything for anybody's wondering. It's over freaking concrete and flamingos. Literally. It's over those two things. And all I can think of is like, oh my gosh, it's freaking scary. But you gotta keep your mind clear. And the ride goes for a nice little... And of course after that, there's a drop. The drop is really good. Goes actually pretty low too, which actually is great. And of course, they have the underdrop. What I call the underdrop is basically, it goes up a little bit, goes down, and of course it goes under like this. So your body is facing upward, and your face is facing the sky, which is actually pretty cool, actually. And I found that to be one of the best parts of the ride. But not only that, here the second best part of the ride has to be the ride touching the water. There's a point of the ride closer to the end where the train kind of slightly touches the water, and these water sprays just come out like you're actually kind of spraying, like you're touching the water, like the train is actually touching the water at high speeds. And it's one of the best parts of the ride that I felt that was really good, because the ride is supposed to simulate as you were flying. Because the little story behind it is that when SeaWorld was designing the ride, they were saying that a stingray is like the bird of the sea. When they swim, it looks like they're actually flying. They're gliding through the sea, and that's what they want to replicate with Manta, since they want to replicate you flying. And from the fact that I felt that, hey, as soon as that drop goes, you do feel like you're dropping down, you're flying downwards, and then you're picking yourself up with a little loop, then you're doing a little corkscrew, then you're going up and doing an underdrop, and then you're going back up with that little zero with a loop, and then going with a couple of corkscrews up and down to a little bit of banks, and of course the helix up and the helix down, and of course the spraying the water, where I felt like you're really flying. At that point, when the ride touches the water, I felt like I was really flying, and I really loved that part of the ride. It's one of the best parts of the ride that I argue to you guys. If you ever go to SeaWorld, or if you don't go to SeaWorld, but you should go to SeaWorld, this is something you have to experience at least once. And I felt this was the best part of the ride, and I felt that this was the most amazing part of the ride that I really enjoyed. Of course, the ride goes through a couple little more spins and turns, which is really cool. It even almost touches the waterfall, which is also one of the best parts of the ride, where I call it the near miss section, because they're literally really close to the freaking waterfall. I was like, ah! Literally. Oh boy, I made that scream come out a little bit too much. But it is one of the best parts of the ride, and I felt that was really cool, and it was really well done for what SeaWorld did with the ride, or B&M did with the ride. And once the ride goes after that waterfall, does a little bit of a twist and turn up and down, and goes to the stop, the brake run, which is the final part of the ride. The ride also keeps a little bit of its momentum. As soon as that drop goes, it keeps on going. It doesn't have any brake runs or stops or any kind of boosters at all in the ride. Matter of fact, the ride just runs on this whole potential energy, just straight from that drop, and of course straight from that 0G roll, and of course from the underdrop that I just told you about. All the ride just feels, it's amazing, it's extremely fast and well done, and by the time the ride ends, I'm actually arguing for more because I loved every single moment of it. So if I actually had to say it myself, this ride is Disney quality. Yes, I'd argue it. I actually have to say it. Even though that the ride is an outdoor roller coaster, and it's just a simple outdoor roller coaster, I found this to be very fun and very well done. Even the queue area for this ride is actually really great and really well done, and I found it to be very fun. Really cool and great. Even though I hate the fact when guests or riders that's actually getting onto the ride get stopped by the amazing aquarium and just stay there until the lines just start moving all the way up to the freaking stairway. It's other than that, I really enjoyed the ride. From the point you leave the station to the point you finish. I felt that the ride was really well done and really good, and just made me feel like I was actually flying. For me, I felt that the experience all in itself was really was really great, and of course is Disney quality. Though I do believe if this was handled by Disney, it'll put a little bit more mountains and rock work than what SeaWorld did with their ride with Manta. But I felt that the ride was really, really good, and I enjoyed every single moment of it. So yes, this ride is a definite 10 out of 10 Disney quality. So that's the end of this today's review. My name is Stanley Keys28. I hope you guys enjoyed this review and hope to see you guys in episode 7. Of course, I'm going to have some regular uploads today. I'm going to have some other uploads from other videos I did in the past, and hopefully you guys enjoy them. So, see you guys later.